Expandable Baton. Hello, Doug. It's good to see you. Expandable Baton, if there is a police shortage where you live, and that is a real possibility where a lot of people live now, that you might have to defend yourself. In fact, in my opinion, for my whole life, I've believed that you should be your own first responder. You should have training to be able to defend yourself and your family until somebody else can get you or get there to help you. And in these days, these times, it seems like that's becoming more and more of a necessity for certain people, depending on where they live. I'm going to talk about the expandable baton because you recommend it a lot. You talk about it a lot. We know that law enforcement carries these. In fact, this one was sent to me by Doug. This is the one that Doug carried as a police officer. This is similar to one that I carried as a police officer in the Marine Corps. And I wanted to show you my other police baton, another version of it. Hello, Studer. Thank you for that gift. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. This is just the straight baton, and I brought this for a reason I wanted to talk about in a minute. But I wanted to get right into it, talking about the expandable baton. This is something that you can carry concealed if you have a concealed carry license in your state. I have one here for Florida. In Florida, I can carry this concealed. We are now an open carry constitution state, which means that I'm allowed to, or not open carry, we're a constitutional carry. It means you can carry a concealed weapon with you for self-defense, and you don't have to have the license. I still have my license and license in other states. So this expandable baton, super simple. You can feel these if it's a legitimate police style of any quality. This is Monadnock, made in Taiwan. Then it's going to be heavy. You can use it while it's still closed. You can do a simple jabbing motion if you're not able to whip it out and get this out the way it's designed to use the length as an advantage to strike with. You can hit it while it's still closed. And since it's out, I'm going to leave it out because I have to hit it on the ground to close it. So we're going to talk about these simple strikes. The first thing that I want to talk about is the parrying motion. I can parry this way. I can parry up. I can use two hands. I can change my grip. I can block this way. I can parry and then strike. I can parry up and then come down. And I wanted to show you the parry because I often see two things. One is this idea that if the bad guy is coming at you with a bladed weapon, you can start to sword fight him a little bit, parry, and then strike. And then the other thing that's often recommended is that as he's coming out with his bladed weapon and he starts doing one of these Kali Salat Eskrima dances with his, which I don't think ever happens. I think if this comes out, it's either going to be on you really quick or you're not going to see it, or he's going to have it down here trying to hide it. And you've trained yourself to parry and then strike. You're going to be in big trouble. So I wanted to mention the parry, and the idea is that yes, you can do that. And you can train to block and strike. Living in a much kinder, gentler world, we would want to imagine that that would be the best way to defend ourselves, so that ideally, the most we would have to do is just smash his hand. And the other thing that comes along with that is this idea that I'm going to be striking, and I'm going to take away his weapon. I'm going to take away that hand. I'm just going to wait for him to come in, and I'm going to be spinning behind, again, doing my Kali, my hips working. I'm able to start moving around, do a little bit of dancey, fancy stuff again, and sidestep and smash that hand that's carrying that blade. And as he's coming in and he's fancy, slice in the air, I'm going to hit it out. I don't want you to do that. I said all that to say this, that instead of the parry and the strike, or the idea of training yourself to hit that moving target, right? Like you're a paddleball player. I would say tennis, but everybody seems to be playing paddleball now, with the little, what are those little plastic balls with holes in them? The T-balls when we were a kid, the little wiffle balls. And they're playing the wiffle ball, and you're going to smash that hand out because you have such great eye-hand coordination. Under stress, and yeah, your adrenaline's going to be pumping, and you don't know how fast he's going to close that distance. Like I said, you might not see that weapon. Like that guy who killed that cop in New York the other day had a shiv in his rectum, expecting to go back to jail. That shiv comes out. You're not seeing that shiv until he's hit you with it 3 or 4 times. You might not even realize it. So my point is this. I want you to do simple strikes. I want you to do the things that work. And I want you to target what you can remove or destroy. So we're going to go back to that Tim Larkin's book, and Tim Martin's book is When Violence is the Answer. I put the link below. And I want you to aim for what you can remove or destroy. His ability to be awake. That means striking in the head, knocking him out. And yeah, instead of trying to play baseball or wiffle ball and smash that knife out of his hand, I want you to go in with a simple strike in through the temple and create all these strikes, basic angles coming off your shoulders, not from out here in space, but super tight, keeping it in the frame of your body between you and him. So when you practice with your self-defense tool, with your expandable baton, with simple strikes for self-defense, I want you to keep it really tight, keeping the other hand up to guard the head, maybe even drive the elbow into his face as he closes that distance, especially if he does have a knife. And maybe you do get cut, maybe you do get stabbed, but if you can strike as he's coming in, and instead of going for his hand and that weapon, go for that temple, use the weight of this heavy steel baton to crush his skull for self. It's life or death. It's you or him. So what can you remove or destroy? His ability to be awake or see, his ability to breathe temporarily by smashing through his nose. Maybe it's two hands just using this hard piece of steel, going in through his nose and blasting as hard as you can, pushing him back, creating distance so he can't get that knife into your body and into the fight. Thank you, Happy Cactus, for that super sticker. I really appreciate that. So I want to keep it simple. So the first thing we're going to talk about, this basic tight off the shoulders, coming down at an angle strike. From here, the next thing is coming as a backhand, and thinking of this backhand, this back fist strike is very powerful. Your back muscles are always very powerful groups of muscles. You're going to pull this out, and here you can strike the head. You can go for the knee if you want to, and if he's coming in and he's focused on your face and you're smashing a knee, then you can also bring it back quickly and coming in, striking into the face, the temple, the neck. There's a nerve process here. You strike that, you can flush the blood out of his head, fall like a sack of poo onto the ground where he should be. Let the cops come and scoop him up. But just this basic reverse hand strike into the head, into the body, into the knee if you have to, and then keeping it again within that center line of your body and his body, being able to strike there and not swinging wide and then opening. My biggest fear when someone's got that bladed weapon is that I create in my body an opening for him to close that distance. My hand wraps around him, either because I'm coming too wide here or I'm missing him altogether. My hand's out here. He comes in. He's just taking this arm completely out of the fight. I might as well not have it, as he, sticks it in me over and over again, and I'm on the ground and I'm out. I'm out of the fight. I'm out of life. I'm out of everything. So I want you to practice basic strike, temple, body, knee, over and over again, and always do everything with both hands evenly. If you're going to do one hand, do the other hand. Make sure you can fight ambidextrously if you can. So after we talk about these basic angular strikes and these horizontal strikes, and you can bring that same kind of thing from the outside coming in, but again, look where I'm finishing. I'm still following through. His target is here. So I'm coming through and I'm striking his jaw, his temple, his head, his neck. What can you remove or destroy? His ability to see, his ability to breathe, his ability to close the fight and hurt you. If his hand is in the way and you can smash that hand, go for it. Just because I said don't play pickleball, that's what I call it, paddleball. Pickleball. Don't play pickleball with his knife and try to hit a moving target. But if his hand's coming in, or if for some reason he is holding a knife and he's threatening and threatening and threatening, and you're feeling like he's about to use it, and you happen to have this out already, yeah, smash that, but then come in immediately and end the fight. Don't give him a chance. If he pulled that knife out, he meant to take your life with it. And just because you knock that out of his hand or you smash his hand with it, or it moves back, you don't know, maybe he's got another knife, maybe he's got a gun, maybe he's got something else. Maybe he's got 2 or 3 other guys with him. Once you hit that knife, come through, striking the temple, all of the basic angles, and then horizontal strikes, and then finally coming straight down on top. So keeping it simple. I want simple self-defense strikes that you can do with your expandable self-defense baton. We're coming off the shoulders. You're coming horizontally, and then that back fist strike, that reverse strike. And you can also do that, like we said, to the knees. Notice that when I go to the knees, I'm changing levels by bending my knees, which I can do better now. I couldn't pick things up the floor. I was so tight with this hip. But now I'm able to get distance and get up and down. Yeah, Doug says in his experience being in law enforcement, being a cop, body strikes don't do much with this. And this is not my first choice for you for self-defense. This is a choice if there's a police shortage and you don't have any other choice and that you can get your hands on one of these and it makes sense for you to carry. But understand this will be seen as an offensive weapon. But so is this, right? People make this thing, well, if you carry that, the law is going to look at that and say, you meant to harm him. That's why you, well, what if you're carrying one of these? It's the same thing. But you say, yes, I carry this for self-defense. I carry this with the intention that because you guys can't get to me in time because you've changed the rules and you're allowing them back on the street over and over and over again in these cities, and we don't feel safe as a community anymore, and I have to take the responsibility of my family, myself, my God-given right for self-defense, yes, that's why I'm carrying this. And if that's your choice, learn how to keep it simple. Don't fall into the trap of the parry block and all of the fan, and I love that stuff. That's comes from the martial arts world. That's a lot of fun, man, doing all that stuff. Especially you get into the collie and you get a partner and you start smacking sticks together and it sounds really good and you're going down on the knee and you're on your back and then you put machetes and then the sparks are flying and it's a show though. Don't fall for the show. Learn how to use it in a practical way. Back to Doug's point. This, which is the monadnock, and this isn't the PR24 is the one with the handle on the side. Monadnock makes a lot of these great different things. This is a hard polymer. And this probably weighs a good pound more than this one does. And when this thing hits, that's going to crush bone very easily. And this is going to do a lot more damage. And especially if you can put two hands on it and then, again, lower your stance, bend your knees a little bit, and then come up into a straight strike into his solar plexus, in through his throat, in through his face to remove or destroy his ability to hurt you by taking away his ability to breathe or stand, temporarily breathe, permanently breathe. You can do a lot more simple damage with one that doesn't collapse. The other one, when you start hitting somebody, the force is, well, we'll close it. The force is going to collapse it, right? And if your hands are on it, it's going to pinch your finger. Who cares? You're not going to feel it when you're in a fight. But the point is, you're going to lose the length of it. If you have just a straight baton, you can do all of those exact same strikes with a lot more force and a lot more damage, but you can also put two hands on it and you can strike. Now, there are the springy kind that are more like a whip. And yeah, all these will cut. This will even cut. If you know how to use this and use the tip, you can cut flesh. The metal ones will cut a lot deeper. And you can break bones, and you can do it with the expandable batons. They are effective. I'm not saying they're not. What I'm saying is, I think this is a better choice. I think law enforcement would prefer to carry this. I would pay you money if you could find me a cop working in America today who would pull this out and actually use it. And I say that because all of the guys that I talk to a man and a woman, say, I won't pull that out. We all have cameras. There are cameras everywhere. As soon as I pull that out, I risk them coming after me and getting me for excessive force and losing my career and them trying to put me in jail because the bad guy got hurt while we were stopping him in the middle of a crime. And that's a shame and that's disgusting, but that's our reality. And that's why we have police shortages, one of the big reasons. But the point is, they're effective like anything else is effective. I think this is more effective. I think probably they went to this because it takes up less space. You start to fill your duty belt with all your gear as law enforcement, and now you're wearing a vest, and now you're wearing your radio, and you got the cameras and everything. You're going to have lower back problems and heartbeat, knees, hips, everything because of the weight of all this. And so this weighs a little bit less. It takes a lot less room. When you're in your patrol car, you don't have to pull it out and stick it next to you like you did, or into the car door like we did with the PR24 or when we used to carry these, because this just stays in there all the time and it fits so easily into its little carrier there. I'll put it upside down. These are also really, really, really hard to get. These aren't that much easier to get. You have to have a reason to use it. Put your thumb there, wrap your hand there, and now you have those same basic angular strikes. This feels a lot more secure, a lot more easier to hit with. All these basic things, you get a little more reach advantage, but you also now get those two hands on it, like a riot baton. And you can push somebody back, and you can bend your knees and get lower, and then come up with your legs and create massive amounts of strike force on the very tip of that hard piece of rubber or plastic, right into his solar plexus. Like I said, anywhere in that center line. You put it between the belly button and the privates, straight down this way, you'll see him go to the ground really fast. I've had that done to me. It doesn't feel good. You feel it for days. Hopefully you won't pierce the fascia in there, because then you'll get a hernia. But that's basically, you put that muscle into a spasm, they're not standing up for a while. And I've seen people put to the ground many times, and especially with that side handle baton, with a quick, fast jab here, way more effective than whipping out that long, skinny, expandable baton and then just beating on somebody for the camera, which is why no one uses them anymore. It's a good reason. But this, a lot more effective. Now, this is going to be hard. You're not going to carry this down your, put on the wrong side, it's my big scar right there. Down in your, your pant leg walking around or in a backpack. You carry this in the car. That's going to be, you better be in the way back. Some states you have to have law enforcement or be in security or have some reason to carry it. So it's not going to be as effective. I prefer, my number one tool is the walking cane. And I've been using a walking cane now on and off. I haven't used it in a couple days, but for a while there, I was using it every day for the last few weeks. So many powerful, simple things that you can use. You get great reach advantage. Seventh Son Steve, thank you, welcome. Thanks for joining. But going a little bit shorter, excuse me, is the Tanbo self-defense. And this is a shorter than the normal 18 inches that I make. And you can get a 36-inch dowel rod from Home Depot or Lowe's, or you can buy one from me. I put the link below. But you can get one of these simple, cut it in half, have it 18 inches, sand it, 3 grits of sandpaper, 80, I go 80, 120, 220, and then soak it for a few days in butcher block oil or cutting board oil, super inexpensive. And then it gets really heavy, really flexible, and then it creates a lot of force when you strike with it, and you get your two hands back on it, and you can do all the same things you can with a straight baton. Of course, this one isn't 18 inches. 18 inches would be about here, so it's almost as long. And then you can also, this doubles as a, I feel so good, a faster roller. So when someone asks you why you carry that, it's a muscle roller. And this can go in your backpack. This can go in your car. You can bring this with you. And then when someone asks you what it is, you can tell them it's a tire thumper. The whole thing, when I see all these tire thumper things, and it's really just an old billy club. And yeah, if you drive an 18-wheeler and you got to get out and check those inner tires to make sure there's still enough air in them, then you get your thumper out. If you're Joe Schmo walking down the street and you got a tire thumper in your backpack, I don't think this is going to be, or your tire thumper, police are going to, I don't think they're going to buy it. But if you say, I'm carrying it for self-defense, it's my God-given right, and you live in an area where they're going to punish you for defending yourself, then that's your reality. And that's my answer to that, because people are going to say that in the comments. We can't carry those in London. We can't carry those anywhere in Europe. I know. I'm so sorry about that. Stand up, speak up, find a way to get rid of those politicians. Take your country back. Take your freedom back. Take your rights back. You live in San Francisco. You live in California. They're not going to let us carry these in Los Angeles. Well, it's just like saying, in any one of these incidents that's happened in the world recently where bad people have harmed good people, the bad people aren't following the rules. So maybe you need to break the rules in your favor and carry something that you can say, well, this is my massage tool. I happen to have it with me. And I saw he had a knife, so I said, I need to have something. And now you have reach advantage. And again, you're not dancing with him trying to take away his thing. You're going in for those strikes into the temple. You're shoving it into his face. You're taking the back of it here. You can change your grip. You can put this here. If he has that blade, you can, as you're coming in, you can strike with it this way, bringing it across, bringing it down this way, hit him with that elbow, bring the elbow up. But you can defend yourself, which is my point. And then, of course, the Yawara pocket sticks. I make a lot of these and you just sort of hold it in your hand. Now you've got like a loaded fist, like you're holding a roll of quarters. You can smash really hard, breaking his jaw. And again, it goes back to that book, When Violence is the Answer. And I implore with you, if you're really serious about self-defense and keeping your family safe, read that book. It's the Bible for self-defense. It's by Tim Larkin. The link's below if you need one. Violence is the Answer says, you take a deep breath, calm yourself for just a second, because that's all you're going to get. You're just going to take the edge off, and you ask yourself, what can I remove or destroy? And just that simple question shifts the whole conversation from, oh my God, he's got a knife, he's going to kill me, what do I do? And while you're standing there frozen in fear, he's stabbing you to death. To, all right, I don't have a choice, I got to fight. What can I remove or destroy? His ability to see, I'm going for his eyes, I'm going to shove this right into his face. He takes one more step this way, I'm going right into his stomach, I'm coming up under his throat, into his thing. And then I'm going to put my hand, I'm going to come into his face and smash. And then, you can role play that with a partner and you slow it down. Again, that's Tim, I think, does a really good job explaining that, how to do that kind of training in his book, slowing everything down so that you can see it instead of getting all hot and sweaty and out of breath like I often do, which I enjoy because I'm always training, trying to improve myself. Doctor told me I could go back to body weight exercises. So I'm doing the push-ups, I'm doing the pull-ups, and I'm all sweaty. And I thought I'd make this video. So I always do the videos when I'm working out. So I get myself all riled up and I start thinking about the comment section. And people are asking me about the expandable baton. And I said, yeah, let's talk about that again. Because expandable baton, yes, carry it if you want to. It's appealing to you. You want to learn how to use it, learn how to use it. But the bigger point is learn how to create force multipliers, fight with sticks. There's sticks everywhere. We did an umbrella recently. Get one of those good unbreakable umbrellas. They're not that expensive. It doesn't have to say unbreakable umbrella. It could just be a really good golf umbrella made to last years and years. And that's going to be really strong using carbon fiber. And it's lightweight, but it hits really hard. And it's longer than a knife. And you can create some distance. But when you do pull out your stick for self-defense, think about the principles. What are you going to remove or destroy? Stop thinking about playing pickleball with his knife and trying to bat that out of the air. And don't imagine, I've seen hundreds and hundreds of these awful videos of people getting knifed. And it doesn't look like, it's not, I can never remember the name of that movie. I always say Benny and the Jets, but it's the Jets and the Sharks or something like that. And they're dancing back and forth with their knife. It's not like that. And then it's also not this, it's not Jason Bourne. It doesn't look pretty. It looks nasty and ugly. It looks like what happens in the prisons, right? Especially if that's where the guy just got out of. He doesn't want to go back there, and he has a knife, or he's got a shiv, or he's picked up a kitchen knife that's this long, and his intent is just to hide it until he gets close enough to start stabbing it and sticking it in you. And he's doing his sewing machine. And he's coming over and under, and you're hit by this so many times, and it's done so much more damage than a bullet would, because you allowed him to close that distance. So instead of letting that happen, when you do have a self-defense tool, take away his operating system. Don't allow him the ability to use this instead of trying. And, there's one of the great stories Tim Larkin tells too, I think on one of his podcasts, is maybe it was cop, or I think it was a security at like a Walmart or something, a cop, ex-con who just got out, lifelong felon. And they were arresting his old lady for shoplifting, and he approaches the guy. He's got his hands in his pocket, and he realizes, he's got something in there that he shouldn't have. Brings out the knife. Guy addresses the knife, shatters his bone, takes it out, and the guy's got a gun in the other pocket. And then, so many stories like that. And these are real stories, which is why we have to break out of the mode of movie mode and dojo mode, where Guru so-and-so said that when I went to Cebu and I fighted with Grandmaster Guru, we did it this way. And yeah, that's true. I'm sure you did. And all that's legit too. And there's nothing wrong with that. But when you start to look at what's really happening in the world, most of us all did martial arts like at that level when we were young kids. And it leads sometimes to hip replacements and slowing down and learning how to adjust and how to grow up and how to be an adult about these things when it comes to self-defense and how to keep it practical and only what works, and drop all the fancy dancy sidestepping stuff and all the Steven Seagal fancy stuff. And all that stuff always works extremely well in the movies and with a partner who's going to feed you the knife correctly. And when we start to pressure test our basic self-defense stuff, and I've got the knife in this hand and he goes for that knife, I'm just in the habit of popping it in the other knife and stabbing. And everybody does that now with each other. And we realize, okay, we got to stop playing around this way. And we have to start to look at, this feels good because it's pretty and it makes sense and it's esoteric and it's great martial arts. But what happens if the guy really has a knife and my family's here and he's going to get through me, and then as I'm taking my last breath, I'm watching him hurt my family? I don't want that to happen. I don't want it to happen to me. I don't want it to happen to you. And so we want to focus on what's basic, what's practical, and only do what works. Put in the comment sections, please, what works for you, what you've experienced, because I know a lot of you guys have a lot of experience with this stuff, both practical experience in law enforcement, in your own life. You live in neighborhoods where you're having to take personal responsibility, or you always have lived in neighborhoods where you've always had to have responsibility for your own safety and your own self-defense. So create that conversation in the comment section. Let me know where I can improve. You know, what I said that was just BS, and you just call me out on it, and then either I'll say, yeah, you're right, or maybe I thought about it in one way and you thought about it in another way, and we can learn from each other. Anyway, it's so great to see you guys. Alita, Studer, Andrew, Doug, everybody. So great to see everybody. Seven Son Steve, welcome. And love that you guys are all here again. And I'm back. This one's done. I'm just entering the 4th week. I've been doing basic things, and I'm shocked. Mad at myself that I put it off for so long, and because this one's now really bad, and I'm feeling this one. But I'm going to do this hip in May, and then I'll have another couple weeks of downtime, and then after that, I'm back to kicking above my head if I want to. Not that I will, but if I want to. Anyway, you guys have been great. Rodney, great to see you. So good to see everybody. Thanks again for those gifts. Stu, that was awesome. And I will see you guys in just a little bit. Hopefully we'll do this again tomorrow. I've got a lot of free time this weekend. Happy holidays and happy Easter.